Hey everybody, welcome on in to Sports Live in the 215. Today we'll discuss the Eagles' 22-10 victory over the Green Bay Packers on Sunday. First things first, I thought Jalen Hurts was a little rusty, which makes sense. He hadn't played football in 3 weeks, so I would assume that next week he'll have next week we'll have a better game against the Rams, which um, would be good to see. It was good for him just to kind of knock the rust off. I think I just think that's what this week was like, him just kind of knocking the rust off of not knocking the rust off because he hadn't played in such a long time. So hopefully next week against LA he comes out and performs better. I know he had a high quarterback rating, but um, quarterback rating is usually one of those stats like people only bring up when it benefits their argument. So yeah, I don't really put a whole lot of stock into quarterback rating, but I thought Jalen was definitely rusty. Wasn't his best performance, but it certainly was far from the worst I've ever seen. Um, yeah, he'll be better next week. I thought I thought Kellen Moore, game plan wise, wasn't very good. Obviously only getting AJ Brown, which is I believe the who I believe to be the number two receiver in all of the NFL. Only one catch for 10 yards. It's just it's just bad. By all accounts, especially when the Packers are missing their top cornerback and maybe even their top defensive player. So yeah, that was certainly something Kellen Moore needs to improve on for this upcoming Sunday, and I have full confidence that he will. Um, One group I definitely need to shout out though is this defense. They kept the Packers at arm's length pretty much all game. Like even when it was 16-10, like I felt like I didn't even feel really nervous at any point because I knew this defense was capable of making key plays when we needed them. So um, and they did that on Sunday night. So or Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. So that was huge to see. Now we welcome in the Rams, who obviously are dealing with that whole wildfire situation in um, Los Angeles and Southern California, which prayers up to LA. That's extremely sad. We're all thinking of you, but hopefully the Eagles can take care of them like they did in want to say that was, forget what week that was, week 9 or 10, I forget. um if anybody knows, feel free to let me know in the comments, but I fully expect Jalen to be on his game. I expect Saquon to have a big day. Also, I think AJ will be more of a factor, and so will Devontae. I feel like our passing game will eventually unleash itself. Even when LA does stack the box, they'll still have to worry about AJ and Devontae. So that's a huge advantage for the Eagles. Like I know the Rams defense is good, but they're young and they haven't aside from last night, they haven't been in a playoff um, situation before. So I think that game had has all the makings of a Eagles win. And that's just my initial thoughts right now. But um, anyway, back to this game. Um, one guy the Eagles will surely miss is Nakobe Dean, who hurt his knee, I believe, in the second or third quarter of the Eagles' win against the Packers. So um, he'll miss the remainder of the playoffs. Get well soon, Nakobe. We're all thinking of you, like Eagles fans everywhere are all thinking of you for sure. So get well soon, and we know you'll be back better than ever next season for sure. You'll be able to build off this and um, continue your ascent to being one of the top linebackers in the NFL. Um, one guy who's probably really happy with the Eagles' defensive performance is Zach Bond's agent. Bond had another really good game on Sunday. I want to say he had 6 tackles, an interception. He was just all over the field, and his agent is probably thinking to himself, "I have all the leverage against Howie Roseman," and right now he does. And credit to Zach, he's been an absolute just godsend all year. He's been playing his absolute tail off. He I believe he should get votes for defensive player of the year. I don't think he will though, because that's an award that is uh, built on reputation, and this is really Zach Bond's breakout year. And I don't necessarily know if Zach Bond has enough sacks, but I would think he should get some votes for defensive player of the year, because the way the the way his play has kind of transformed this defense from where they were a year ago to where they were right now is astronomical. So he should definitely get some thoughts or some votes for defensive player of the year. But that's just my opinion. Um, really, honestly, I think this game. I think Eagles fans were pretty sure of the outcome the moment that Jeremiah Trotter Jr. recovered that fumble, and the Eagles offense cashed it in thanks to a Jalen Hurts connection with Jahan Dotson for a touchdown. Um, like from that moment on, it pretty much felt like this was the Eagles' game to lose, and the Eagles' defense played absolutely lights out. They played with their hair on fire. It was really really great to see, and they they gave their offense a chance now. 22 points off of 4 turnovers. Obviously, the offense left some points out on the table, but they certainly did enough to get the job done. And Saquon did the gentlemanly thing at the end of the game to kind of to kind of ice this one and made sure we moved on to the second round rather than scoring and then like maybe making us have to like kick it back to Green Bay and just kind of prolonging prolonging the Eagles celebration, which is it just really shows what kind of a teammate Saquon Barkley is and what kind of a guy he is when the game's in hand, like slide and then like basically let your offense go into victory formation or church mode, as the Eagles called it in like 18 and 19. But yeah, so I think the Eagles as a whole, they could have played better. Obviously, they could have played much better, but they got the job done, and that's all that matters. They don't ask how, they ask how many, and the Eagles so far have the Eagles so far have like I I want to say it's like 15 wins and including this one obviously, but yeah. So I thought the Eagles as a whole, they didn't play as nearly as well as they could, but they did enough to win, and honestly, that's what matters. I think next week, Kellen Moore will have a better plan against the Rams. And we already beat the Rams, and Saquon set a single game rushing record with 255 yards against them the last time we played them. So I would say expect more of the same, but I think every coach in the NFL they study so diligently. So expect the Rams defensive coordinator Chris Shula to throw different things at this Eagles offense, and Kellen Moore may have to adjust to those adjustments. Or yeah, he will. But I was just saying. Yeah, I think I really think this is going to be a fun matchup, and I can't wait to delve more in it. In my Eagles Rams preview that I'll have either later today or sometime later this week. I just think that this defense, the Eagles defense, getting back to the Packers game, kind of exposed maybe some flaws in Jordan Love's game, and maybe some of that has to do with him having kind of an elbow that's not 100%. I think he's just had not as great of a year overall, so that's something that I'm sure he'll look to correct, but that's not something the Eagles really needed to worry about. They needed to just do their job and stop the Packers offense, which they did. I know they didn't have their full complement of weapons because they were without Christian Watson, but the Eagles had a job to do, and they did it well, and they're moving on to next week, and that's really all that matters. This team has, I believe, as good a shot as anyone to not just go to the Super Bowl, but go to a Super Bowl and win it. So, with that being said, thank you guys for listening to this. And as always, go Birds.